Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about assigning meanings and really recognizing where we are assigning meanings from. Like, what is the concept of ourselves and the person? For example, when we're manifesting a romantic relationship with our SP, whether it's an ex, your true love, deep soul connections, or anything. When we're assigning meanings, recognize where that is coming from. The thought trail, where is that thought trail coming from? What version of you is that actually coming from? Because what happens is when we are experiencing the unfolding, oftentimes with our specific person, the exact opposite thing will come up, or anything that does come up. Our reaction or response to it actually tells us a lot about ourselves. I want to read an email from one of my clients, and this is one of the clients that I recently did an email about that after a couple years of not seeing her specific person, we had our session. She ended up matching with him. They ended up spending time together. Her feedback was that he did have deep feelings for her, but that he was worried and concerned about not wanting to go back into the cycle of the craziness that they went through, which is a mirror because obviously she doesn't want to go back to that cycle. Anyway, we had our session yesterday, another follow up session. During the session, some things came out. After the session, she got some evidence of a 3P, but I reminded her, you need to put yourself in check here. He has done nothing wrong. Just because you are doing inner work, and I'm not saying this to my client, I'm saying this to all of you guys. Just because you're doing the inner work of being the wife or the husband with your SP, if in the 3D things have not fully solidified and they are dating other people when they didn't actually become committed to you, they haven't done anything wrong. I know you're experiencing the feelings of a betrayal, but you need to let that go because you're in the unfolding of not having seen your person potentially for months or years. Forgive them, forgive yourself, and then get back in your end and trust and persist. I also wanted to say, like, remember, whatever's coming up in your mind, whatever's coming up in your 3D, your response or reaction to things shows you whether you've become immune to the old story, which means that you have truly released it and let it go, you've healed from it, or if it's still active in you. So instead of getting upset with what your 3D reality is mirroring back to you, look at your own internal responses or reactions. I'll give an example before I read this. Yesterday, I was doing a nice deep meditation around all of the things that I want to manifest with me and my Mirror Soul's home, with the different things in different areas that I'm manifesting, also other things. I found myself, I don't know if you guys saw the movie Twilight, but remember the scene, if you did see it, where Edward and Bella are sitting in the field and she shows him a power, a gift that she realizes that she has. She touches him, and immediately it's like the scenes are very fast and quick of the first time their eyes met, the first time they kissed, the first time they passed each other in the hallway, the first time they were hugging, walking, holding hands. And it just was like one scene after another, very, very, very fast. So sometimes when I go into my deep meditations, this thing suddenly happens with me. And yesterday was one of those days, and it was beautiful. And it was, I don't know what time it was. It was sometime in the middle of the afternoon. I laid down on the sofa and I went deep in it. And all of a sudden, it went from my visual, what I was visualizing, right into like it was this deep feeling. I dropped so deep into my heart. My heart opened up, and all of a sudden, it was like as if a movie just like that played in my head from things that I didn't even consciously remember, but every single little moment of the tiniest little responses, reactions, touches, glances, hugging, sounds of his voice telling me in my ear, I love you, squeezing each other, moments where when he touched me, maybe his hand just went right at the small of my back and pulled me in, sitting on his lap, the first moment that we kissed, all of this thing, the first moment that we held each other's hands, it was just like it was so intense and it was automatic and it was so deep that I was crying, but it wasn't a sad cry. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment of just feeling so beautiful and having such a beautiful, unconditional experience of deep, true love. Okay, so remember that just because you're crying if you're doing your inner work, it doesn't mean that it's a negative, fearful, sad, longing, yearning cry. It might be that because you love each other so much. Oftentimes, when people are married together, they make love, they hold each other, they cry together. They might just be having a very deep romantic moment and they cry together and they love that vulnerability between each other, that they love each other so much. I just wanted to mention that while you just want to really see your own internal responses and then assign positive meaning to everything. So let me just read this now. So what ended up happening was they spent time together after 2 years of not seeing each other at all. It was beautiful. The feelings were confessed, but then the fears were also confessed, which she mirrored, and she can see that that is also how she feels. So now she has to go within and just kind of forgive, let go, and go into the end and stay there and go into trust. She ended up seeing the evidence of another person. And I reminded her, like I said in the beginning of the video. But then she had asked me, what do I do now? Because now he's texting me. He's kind of texting me like, I'll hit you up later. And he's texting me all of his whereabouts. So I replied to her. And then she said, should I respond being nonchalant about it, acting like I don't care, going into that wifey energy? Because I had said, be the wife and carry yourself in that energy. But remember, in the 3D, you still need to be authentic. But being authentic doesn't mean cussing somebody out when they've done nothing wrong or making demands or saying things that would manipulate a situation to see if I can figure out how they feel. You can probably hear the dogs barking around. So I replied to her and I said, be authentic and stand in your truth of the end in that wife energy. But in the 3D, when you communicate, you don't have to be fake. Don't be fake, but stand in your power, stand in your truth. If something bothers you in the 3D, you can state that, but you don't state it in a blameful way because he's done nothing wrong. Like, I don't know exactly what I said word for word, but it was something along those lines. And then I said, and by the way, he's also, it's kind of cute that he keeps texting you with his whereabouts. If that were me in the 3D, I would see that he's showing me that he cares about me and he's wanting to stay connected. And so she was happy because that reframed things for her. But anyway, she then emailed me and I wanted to share this with you. I'm writing this to you now because I feel what happened yesterday was a push for me to focus more on my self-love and self-concept, as this is what we also talked about in our session. I'm laughing this morning as I'm having my coffee and doing my inner work because I truly believe that was the reason that the whole scenario reflected in my 3D, especially because it was 2 minutes after our session. I applied your guidance on how to react to my SP after calling him and hearing a third party in the background. And it was effective. You told me to respond out of love and living in the end, that because we're technically not together, he didn't do anything wrong in the 3D. Old me would have reacted differently. I did mention that I heard this woman. However, I cannot get upset because we just reconnected and I know how I feel about him and I'm just focusing on that. And I enjoyed our time we spent together the other night. See how perfect and strong that was, how confident and strong and loving that was without making any demands, without questioning anything. Technically, again, he's done nothing wrong. He told me he was feeling all types of ways because of how I handled this and wishes if I had the same poise over the last 2 years, we would have been married with kids already. He said with me, it's more than just physical that I've been in his head and heart over these last 2 years. I just said time is an illusion and all is well now. We continue to tell each other how much we love one another and share a special bond. And I truly felt this way because of the amount of time we were both texting back and forth. In the heat of the moment, he was focusing on me. I struggle going right back to if he feels this way and knows I do too, then why is he with another woman right now? But I also push that aside and know I will be the woman who he is with in the end. With all this said, I will continue to persist in the end and know this man is in love with me and focus way more on myself and the love I have for myself. I am still so happy after one session with you that we reconnected after 2 years. And now, after my second session with you, I am persisting on full commitment with this man. Thank you again for your time and your genuine love. As always, you are amazing. And you are amazing too. No matter what, I'm sorry to tell you, but you have to be valuing who you are and love yourself. And you need to be giving yourself all of that beautiful energy, because when you don't, you are putting a lot of excessive resistance on your manifestation. And this is whether it's a deep soul connection or lightly dating. Either way, it doesn't matter. When it's all about just about this person completes me, without this person, this and that. I understand the feeling of that. I went through that myself. But you have to recognize that it's like you don't want to slip too much into being overly independent. You want to kind of go into, you don't ever want to be codependent, and you don't want to be overly independent. You want to become interdependent, where you are good relying on yourself. So you're good with yourself, but you're also good with relying on someone else. Anyway, I don't know. This just came out of me. So I think that this had to be said. And I am affirming that there are people watching this video now that needed to hear this. Anyway, I love you so much. I affirm that this helped many people. I trust that it did. Please do comment down below when it comes to a deep soul connection that you are going to trust in the love that the two of you guys have for each other. You're trusting in your end. You know that all of creation is done, and you're going to persist in that. Okay. I love you. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come, nothing can come between us.